There you are, my beautiful people. Welcome back to another thrilling episode of the most disturbing videos on the internet today. For context, don't believe everything you hear or see on this video is strictly for entertainment purposes only. Do your own research on everything. With that being said, hype your boy up, hit that like and subscribe button, and let's dive in. Here come the men in black. Uh-oh, let's see what's going on.
In this next scary video, caught on camera at the train station, this eerie footage captures an unexpected encounter with the notorious men in black at a train station. Who are these mysterious figures, and what do they want? Watch this. In this next scary video,
there's a lot going on. It's like he made like a phantom come out of him. Is that the Archon busting up out of this Draco Reptilian? Y'all tell me. Cows being abducted by UFOs. I gotta see this.
Y'all check out this video. It shows a cow being abducted by some type of UFO. I don't know. Y'all look at this. Y'all tell me what y'all think about this video.
This is absolutely crazy. Why does this remind me of Twister? Remember Twister? The movie Twister, that cow was going in the air? That's crazy.
It's funny you should say that, John, because there is in fact a little known horror story that takes place.
Alright, so this is American filmmaker Sam Raimi, best known for directing the original 3 Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire. But back in 1981, Evil Dead put him on the map. Here he tells his true story of what happened to the man who built the cabin that they filmed the Evil Dead in. Check it out.
In the cabin that we shot Evil Dead in. This cabin was built about 100 years ago. And the man who built it died maybe a week after he built the place. And it's located in this valley surrounded by these mountains that have an incredible amount of iron ore in them. So that during thunderstorms, most of the lightning bolts are attracted to this valley. So it's really an incredible thing to see when you're there during a storm. Well, no one lived in this cabin for the next 20 years. And it was probably around 1910 or so when a family of 3 moved into the place. A mother, daughter, and a grandmother. So really 3 generations of women. One night during a thunderstorm, this little girl woke up and she was scared by all the lightning happening around the cabin. So she ran into her mother's room, and pulling back the covers to climb into bed with her, she found that her mother was dead. Well, she was so frightened she ran screaming into her grandmother's room, and somehow that same evening, she had died also during the night. They still don't really know why both of these women would simultaneously die in this place. Well, the little girl ran out into the storm, about 4 miles to the nearest farmhouse, through this raging thunderstorm, out to the night, and they found her screaming, banging on their doors, and they brought her inside and they got the story from her. Well, they took care of her after that, and no one lived in the cabin since. The people at the farmhouse raised this little girl. She had never been the same since, and during thunderstorms, she would oftentimes wander off from this cabin, and they would find her wandering around in the woods. And sometimes, well, here's where we come into the story. The Tennessee Film Commission said, yes, we've got this one cabin the cows have knocked down, it's full of dung, but you can use it. But it's haunted. We said, well, that sounds fun. So we went there. As we were shooting, the fella from this farm came by, and he told us the story of exactly what happened, and how his folks had taken in this little girl, who was now a very old woman, and that because there had been this thunderstorm the night before, he was looking for this woman because it's possible she had returned to this cabin. And as far as we know, they never found the woman while we were down there shooting, and she could still be roaming those woods around Morristown, Tennessee. The strangest part of the story is that a week after we left the cabin in Tennessee, as reported by the Tennessee Film Commission, a bolt of lightning hit the cabin and it burned to the ground. It's funny you should say that, son.
True horror story of the cabin used in The Evil Dead. I didn't even see the movie. Did you? I have to watch it now. All right, we have a cryptid recorded by a drone. With a drone. Let's see what they found.
Look at that Sasquatch right there.
What the world? What is that?
A Sasquatch recorded with a drone.
Oh, that's incredible. What?
Check this out, y'all. This is a Sasquatch recorded with a drone.
No way. Are you serious? What? What is that?
It's a legit Sasquatch, you guys.
What the world?
That's such a good idea to try to find Sasquatch using drones. If we put a fleet of drones out there, that'll sniff them out real quick.
Bruce Lee once said, "Don't speak negatively about yourself, even as a joke. Your body doesn't know the difference. Words are energy and cast spells. That's why it's called spelling. Change the way you speak about yourself and you can change your life. What you're not changing, you're also choosing." Bruce Lee once said,
That's wise. I want you guys to start talking great about yourself, including me.
They literally have a priest blessing people before they go watch the new Conjuring movie. And they literally have a priest blessing people before they go watch the new Conjuring movie. And this is an actual priest praying for everybody before they go watch the movie. Would you still want to watch it after this? Look at this. This is a real priest. And he's even passing out holy water to the people. And my question is to you, why does the priest have to bless you before you go watch this movie? And will you end up watching it? They literally have a priest bless.
Yeah, I'll watch it. That makes it even more hype if you ask me. Okay, what are those? UFO UAP recorded in Columbus, Ohio. Look out.
What are these? And why are they flying like this? What are those? What are those? I don't know.
If I had to take a guess, I would say drones because of how they're in sync. Like they're being controlled by a master controller. I could be wrong, but right off the bat, I'm thinking this is drones because it's not doing no type of UFO 90-degree movement. More like a single propeller type movement, you know? All right, guys, we have multiple scary Skinwalker video footage coming right at you.
Check this out. Give us some volume on this.
Skinwalker and Shapeshifter encounters. Watch until the end. Did he just jump from that building? The way Skinwalker or dog jumped and disappeared.
Check this out.
That last thing was terrifying. Did you see that? What is that little ugly thing? Can you understand me? I'd love to hear the original audio of that. Alright, y'all. Did this lady spot Nibiru or the second sun in La Vesta Pass, Colorado?
You can see it right there. La Vesta Pass. You can see it right there. La Vesta Pass. Nibiru. You can see it right there.
I don't know, but Colorado is beautiful, like how they have the mountains damn near every direction you look. I drove through it once, but I would love to just stay and visit and take in the scenery.
What is your take on the Voynich manuscript? Because people have been trying to crack that code forever. You go, what is this? Is it just gibberish? Is it just fake words? And why so much time and effort put into making this fake book?
Yeah.
Is it like a crazy schizophrenic person who made their own language?
I don't know. They must have been a rich schizophrenic. But it's Middle Ages.
Yeah.
It's just a weird one.
It's a really weird one.
Yeah.
What is your take on the...
What if it's a buck from a distant land? That's my hypothesis.
Guys, I just cracked the code. I just went down this super deep rabbit hole, and I know for a fact that jets don't use any fuel to fly. Now, I know this might sound crazy, but stick with me. I promise you that there's something here. First of all, I want you to notice this. This is on the roof of an ancient Indian temple, an extremely and eerily similar design to an airline jet turbine. Let's take this one step further. These pillars on these ancient temples strongly resemble what a turbine looks like, the whole design of it. These pillars also rotate. Now, whether you're aware of it or not, these ancient temples were power plants. They generated free energy. Now, let's think about this for a second. We are told that a Boeing 747 carries 63,500 gallons of fuel. Where exactly do they put all of this? This is a 60,000 gallon water tank. Just for reference, guys, just think for a second. They say that the fuel is stored in the wings. Where? How does that make any sense to you? This is where this gets really interesting. I was doing some research and this is what I came across, and it made a whole lot of sense to me. So I'm just going to read this for you guys. There's an airplane called the Airbus A380. It weighs 575 tons. Now, to make this absolute mammoth leave the ground and not slam back down to the earth 1 second later, they use ultrasonic levitation, superconductivity, and pulse magnetic zero-point Meissner fields. Jet fuel only powers the turbines to start up, and they cut off from combustion and switch to etheric energy once they reach a certain speed. And this happens when there is a good flow of electrostatic electricity. This is quite literally ancient tech, Hartarian technology, Nikola Tesla's technology. Think about this. Examine how long it takes them to pump fuel in between flights. 60,000 gallons. It literally only takes a few minutes. It almost takes a passenger car less time to fill up a plane. A passenger car requires 2,000 times less fuel. Even if this pump was pumping 10 times more fuel than an average pump at the gas station, it would take them roughly 17 hours to fill up 60,000 gallons. 60,000 gallons in these wings? Are you serious? And when we start to assess the intricate design of these turbines and how they're not really used anywhere else in the world except for jet engines, it's kind of interesting, right? Don't you think it's possible that they stole this technology from our ancient ancestors?
That looks just like a jet engine. I'm not gonna lie. Exactly like a jet engine.
Hiding free energy in plain sight, and as well as charging us out the ass to get on a plane because of all the jet fuel that they gotta consume. This also would explain contrails and how planes just spray straight up water vapor and then it just disappears. Unlike, a combustion engine from the back of our cars that have a different type of smoke. This is a chemtrail. This stays in the air forever and disperses and blocks out the sun. Beyond the point, that's a contrail. And that
Beyond the point, we're past that. Everybody knows about that now.
would explain contrails, right? Am I crazy or is this making sense to you guys? Let us know in the comments down below. Peace and
I would think it would be more powered by the ether more than anything. That's what I'm thinking. And 60,000 gallons? I always thought they put it in the bottom of the plane or in the wings, but where will it all fit?
Here's video evidence of why Appalachia is no joke. Most of the time when you're out in the mountains in Appalachia, It's a peaceful, great experience. But it's that 1% that can change everything. There's some debate on what this creature is. You're going to hear it here in just a moment in this video. A lot of people are saying this is a skinwalker, screaming, yelling. Others are saying a Bigfoot or some other cryptid. You tell me. Watch this video, listen to it very carefully. Let me know in the comments what you think.
How terrifying was that sound? I don't believe I can replicate that sound if I even tried. I can't do it. What was it?
So I have no idea what exactly it was that we saw that night.
And this is why we don't hike at night.
So I have no idea what exactly it was that we saw that night.
And this is why we don't hike at night. No, this is a good one though. Listen, watch.
Okay, so I have no idea what exactly it was that we saw that night. My friends and I go camping a lot, and our favorite place is the Red River Gorge here in eastern Kentucky. It's the closest place to where I live where you can see the Milky Way pretty much every single night. Our first experiences night hiking, we would go to trails that we knew well and were frequently used during the day. Ones with lots of fences and gazebo resting places like the Natural Bridge, which is like a 2 to 4 mile hike uphill, just depending on your starting point. Hiking on this trail at night is not allowed, but it's the woods, and I've never been one to care much about closing times for the literal outside. This night was weird to begin with. Almost as soon as we got going on the hike, the clouds started taking over, and we started to get the impression that we were going stargazing at pretty much nothing. But we went anyways, just in case it cleared out by the time we got up to the top, because you just never know with Kentucky weather. In the beginning, it was just the normal paranoia that was keeping us so stressed and quiet. You know you've reached the bottom of the bridge when you see a giant wall of limestone. It's after hours at this point, so no skylift rides have gone on for hours. And the rangers had already done their sweep and left right before we got out of the car and headed up. I guess I have to make these points because this is what I was thinking to myself when, like, out of nowhere, a girl appeared with a headlamp. And she begins to walk down the trail that we're looking out at. She was in a sundress and flip-flops. And while this is a fairly easy hike, it wouldn't be easy with no water or no real shoes, especially after dark. Her light was bright, and when she reached to where the trail turned down to where we were sitting, she just stopped. She just stood there straight on. She was just sitting there staring at all of us, and I had to bring like my arm up to shield my eyes from the light because it was so bright. And it was shining like directly in my eyes. She didn't turn away from our lights at all or even seem to be bothered that she had 6 LED lamps shining right in her eyes. I said hello, and she kind of replied, but with like a pause between every single word, something like, "Hello, how are you?" I said, "I'm good. How are you?" And she took even longer pauses, and she was like, "Oh, fine." She then just stood there with her hands to her side and just staring at us. Her light made it impossible to see her face, and I had my hand up the entire time because her light was just so bright. Until finally she just turned and slowly walked down the trail part that we had just came up from. She got to a part where the trail like turned and we could see her light like just stop there for a minute until she turned and the light faded out of sight. After that, we waited a little while before we headed on up. I made comments about how weird that just was, and everybody just made it out to me being always afraid. So we got up after a bit and we started back up to the top. We laid down and we tried to stargaze, but the clouds were even thicker at this time and we were all miserably hot. We could hear voices at times, and my friend kept checking for the people that we heard. We saw a flashlight and we never saw anyone attached to it. And then we heard like a bird call, but it wasn't like a real bird noise. It was like some person doing bird calls. Like rhythmic and not really natural at all. I was convinced that we weren't alone and hadn't been alone, but I'm the most easily spooked. I asked to leave whenever they were ready, and they were all ready to leave right then and there, which kind of scared me too. You know, just knowing that they're all just as afraid as I am at this point. We began going back downhill the same way that we came up, but it felt like it was taking so long. We were moving steady and quick, and it was all downhill, but it felt like we were making no grounds at all. It's hard to explain, but at one point I even said this feels much longer than the way up, and they all agreed. Okay, so now we're walking in like a semi-flattish area, at least compared to the downhill that we had been doing. The handrail or the wooden fence or whatever it is all on the left side of us. We're all walking in a row when all of a sudden my friend says, "What's that?" But the question was more of like an alert, so I moved my headlamp in that direction and I don't see anything at first. At the same time, all 6 of our lights start to shine and like reflect off of a light gray creature. It's bent in a crouching position, sitting on its right leg, and it starts to turn towards us. It starts to stand up, but my mind is like racing at this point. It almost looks human, but it's too big. It's tall and thin, and it was so light gray that it was almost white, and its skin almost resembled dolphin skin. Like, it has a shine to it. Like,
it had to be an alien gray, if you ask me.
It reflects in the light when our headlamps hit it. It's gradually coming to a full standing position in front of us. Its head is long and its eyes are in like a human position on the front of its face, like not like an animal, like on the side of its face. I couldn't see any other facial features, almost just big empty holes or pits for its eyes. Its arms hung down low by its knees and its hands seemed to be long too. I'm gonna guess it stood at like 9 feet or so tall, and it was right there in front of us. It had no hair, like at all. And it had a big head. Like, I couldn't process what I was seeing. I was just frozen, and I felt my friend hitting me, just saying, "Run, run, run." I start to understand that we have to get away from this thing, and that's when it pivots and runs to the right, going backwards along the trail so it can get around the barrier and get on the trail behind us. We took off running down the trail, knowing in our minds that that thing took off a lot faster than we did. It didn't talk at all, because when we tried, it felt like we were going to get caught. We kept running just as fast as we could, but some areas were just so steep. It never felt like we were out of the sight of this creature, not even for a second. As we made it to the trailhead with like the gravel, we could hear something crashing down in the forest beside us. We all just ran as fast as we could and jumped in the car, and we drove down the road just as fast as we could until we got to the main road, and then the sky cleared up, and then the stars came out.
I can't get over that they can go to the trail and see the Milky Way. I only seen the Milky Way one time when I was driving through a desert. I believe it was in Arizona somewhere, and it was like 200 miles to the nearest civilization that way, 200 miles to the civilization where you were back. And I'm just driving in my Impala, and I get out the car, and I'm like, man, I'm just thinking to myself while I'm driving, I'm like, man, I bet the stars are gorgeous. But you know, I'm terrified because it's 200 miles that way, 200 miles back to the nearest place. So I'm literally in the middle of the desert. You know, there ain't no cars. Maybe a semi might go past every 15, 20 minutes. So I leave the car running. I step outside of my car and I just look up. Man, the sky was just dusted with stars, and you could see stuff moving. Like I was too scared to look there. This happened about 10 years ago, and I was too scared to stay out there because rattlesnakes, scorpions, you know, and I'm in the middle of this desert by myself. So I'm just looking up. I was looking for probably a good 5 minutes, and man, it just was just how the stars, it wasn't just like dots, it was like powder of how many stars you were able to see. So that might have been the Milky Way I was looking at, and I definitely want to see that again. I believe they're called dark sky forests. I'm not too sure, but if you have an experience like that or recommend some dark sky parts, drop it in the comments below. If you thought I didn't have another excellent specimen for you today, think again. Feast your eyes on this Sirsocolla and malachite mineral. This is truly extraordinary. It looks like a eye looking at you, surrounded by this like turquoise color. Yeah, that's turquoise. Greenish blue. Excellent specimen. If I had to name this piece, I would call it the Loch Ness Monster Eye. Yeah. Man, that's all we have for today's video. My fault this was a late one. Your boy had a lot to do, but if you made it this far, go ahead and drop that Tuesday banger for the code word. When you drop Tuesday banger in the comments, that lets me know you're a real one because you made it all the way through the video. You took time out your day to comment, hang out with your boy. Man, I love y'all, man. Thank you so much. This is your boy Jet Ski Chuck with the most disturbing videos on the internet today. See you tomorrow.